Hey y'all! Today's video is going to be about how I got my license and advice for buying your first car. I'm Cheyenne. This is Cheyenne New. Stay tuned. Get it. Stay tuned. Car tuning. Jokes. So I am currently 23. I am in my last semester of college and it took me 3 years to get a car. It's been a very long journey and I want to help other people in any way if they can just have a little less grief than I experienced, then more power to you. So I tried to get my license on 3 different occasions. The first time was like almost 3 years ago and I failed because I'd never driven off of a parking lot before, which is dumb of me, but I trusted what I thought was right, and that's why I'm making this video, so that I can tell you I was absolutely wrong. Here are some things that you can do that I wish I had known before I just jumped right into it and decided having a car is what's necessary to being a complete adult. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that, like, just to get your license, you have to pass the written test, you have to make sure you know the signs, there's a signs test, and there's a driving test. So the thing is, if you fail the written test or the driving test, you have to wait at least a week before trying again. So that's something to keep in mind for holidays, because I tried to get my license around Christmas. The driver instructors of the DMV are looking for people that can be cool, calm, and collected. They're not looking for people that just know how to operate a vehicle. They're looking for safe drivers that will not crash. If you know anything about Charlotte, you know that these drivers are absolutely horrendous. People love to pass you on the highway just because you're moving 5 miles above the speed limit and they want to go 15. So there's a lot of like nuance to driving in the city that has constant construction and a limited amount of sidewalks. So if you fail your first couple of times like I did, don't feel too bad, because they're really just trying to look out for you. Like, if they give you your license before you're ready, then you're gonna be like me, stalled on the side of the highway, wondering how to leave. The second thing to know is don't take the driving test if you've never driven on the road. I had a couple of friends who let me drive their cars in parking lots and like gave me direction, and it was a really great way to like start out, but it's not the best way to go into a driving test, because on a driving test you're actually going on the road, you are passing people by. In some cases you have to go on like a very busy street, 4-lane areas, and it can just be very terrifying if you've only practiced in parking lots. But if you don't own a car, then it's hard to get your license. You do need a car to test to get your license, and even better, you have to have insurance to get your license, even if you don't have a car. So in North Carolina, it's really hard to get non-auto state insurance, or like in North Carolina, you are required to have insurance to get your license, even if you don't have a car. So I had to pay non-auto insurance for a couple of months while I was failing and trying to get my license again. And that can be a very expensive journey. So make sure you have money saved up if you want to get your license. And this is before the car, okay? Just getting your license is an expensive journey. If you are using someone else's car, which I'm sure you will have to if you don't own your own car, you would still have to have non-auto insurance, or non-car owners insurance. In North Carolina, the only company I could find that did that was Direct Auto Insurance, and they also work with, I believe, like general insurance. So I personally realized that after failing the first time that I do not like doing the written test and the driving test at the same time. So I decided to get my permit, which is basically just doing the written test, the sign test, the vision test, and all of those things. Got my permit, and then after practicing more, I went back for my third time, got my license. So the second time I failed, it was after I had street experience, but unfortunately I was not like regularly driving. I was just driving from maybe my school to Walmart, or like from Walmart to my house. I was driving in areas that I was very familiar with because I've been walking those streets for the past 4 years. And so when I went to the local DMV and we had to drive around an area that I was so not comfortable with, I didn't know how to do anything. I was very confused. And that's why I failed, because my driver was like, well, my driver instructor was like, it's cool that you know how to drive, but we need safe, confident drivers on the road, and that's why I'm gonna fail you today. I absolutely cried. I cried a bunch because I had already relied on my friends for so much to get me to this point, because obviously my parents weren't gonna help me, and to fail, like, and have to tell them like, hey, thanks for letting me borrow your car, but I failed, so I'm gonna have to do it again, is somewhat traumatizing. But you know what they say, third time is the charm. So to wrap it up, on your license, I would say that if you're a nervous person with anxiety, go ahead and get your permit first, and then go back to get the road test once you've like experienced it. Don't be afraid to fail your first time just because you don't know the way of the road yet, but make sure to take the failures and apply them to practice. Try to get at least 3 hours of practice the week before you're. And when you're getting help from your friends, because if you're like me, your parents aren't willing to help or actually just can't help, then make sure to offer them something. Like, yeah, they're doing you a huge favor by letting you take the wheel of their car. Either offer like gas money, food, both. Just make sure to show that you're very appreciative of what they're doing for you. Otherwise, situation. So that's all well and good. I'm 23, I finally got my license, and then I was going to buy a car. First thing I did was look at Craigslist, and I gotta say, don't use Craigslist. I don't suggest buying a car off of Craigslist or any like used car dealership that does sell as deals that like don't guarantee a warranty or anything, that only accept cash. It's like those kinds of places are very sketchy because they could be selling you like a lemon car or whatever, like a flooded whatever. I'm not good at cars, so if you're like me and you're not good with cars, you don't know anything about mechanics, and you don't have a like auto inspector as a friend, or you can't like hire someone to come with you, then I don't suggest buying a car from these unsavory sites that do not give a crap about how you feel once they hand over that title and registration. I do advise that you join a credit union if you need an auto loan, or save up $10,000 to buy the car straight out. The worst thing you can do is like finance with the used car salesman, especially if they're going to offer you a bad interest rate. If anything over like 9% is absolutely horrible. Just don't go for it. Try to look up credit unions in your area once you're still applying for your license. That way you can join the credit union, apply for an auto loan, and they'll give you a very low rate compared to other establishments. So back to buying my car. I personally used CarMax. They made it pretty easy for me. Side note, I did lie about how much income I have. So yeah, because I really wanted that car. But yeah, if you're working part-time, you're probably not going to be approved for a very good rate, just because the world is made for the rich, to be honest with you. Because yeah, the world really rewards being rich. It's really hard to work part-time and qualify for loans, so definitely save up money or apply at a credit union. Along with CarMax, there are a couple of other options that are like very safe, that give you warranty, that allow you to come back if anything's wrong with the car. So there's CarMax, there's Carvana, there's the actual manufacturer that sells the car. Like if you want a Chevrolet, you can go to a Chevrolet dealer. And all of those places offer warranties on your car. You can come back within like 90 days to have anything fixed if it goes wrong. The second part to getting a car that a lot of people don't really talk about is that you need a ride there. Like obviously if you don't have a car, then it's hard to just go there. I personally luckily had my roommate take me, so I didn't have to take the bus or anything, which can be kind of like depressing. Taking public transportation is actually very depressing, especially with the coronavirus going on. It's like everyone's just very like sad and sickly, and then you see all homeless people and you're wondering what's going to happen, and obviously it's not. So another thing is that like once you get there, even though you're already confirmed, you know what car you want, you will have to buy car insurance. So before I had non-auto car insurance, and then I went to Geico to get actual car insurance. And luckily CarMax sent me my ID number for my car when I was pre-approved, so I was able to get insurance for the car that I wanted, show up at CarMax, fill out the paperwork, and then get my car. It did take about an hour in total, which was a bit longer than I thought it would be since I did so much stuff online, but apparently they have a long process to deal with. The other thing you have to remember is that you have to drive home alone after you get your car. Unless you drove to the car dealership with like two friends and then the one's gonna like ride home with you and offer navigation, is a very scary experience, especially if you're like me and you did it at night because you work during the day and have classes during the day, so you can only get your car at night, and then you're driving alone at night and you're like, what are all these cars passing me for? Literally the first night on my way home. And okay, the thing is, I had the added advantage of my roommate was driving right in front of me, and all I had to do was follow him home. And I still had problems. I like got stuck on the side of the highway. I had to like pull into the little gap area that no one's supposed to be in. I reversed on the highway, which is highly illegal, to take the right exit. And it's just like a lot of things went wrong my first nights, but luckily I didn't get into an accident. So I highly advise that you have a friend that can ride home with you, or you buy, I don't have it here, but you buy one of those things that holds your phone up so that you can GPS home if you. So yeah, those are some of my quick tips on how to get your license and car if you don't have like parental support. I'm so grateful to all the friends that let me drive their cars, even if we're not friends anymore. And yeah, I don't really have super detail because it was all a blur. I'm just glad I have my car now. When you do have a car, just make sure that you find out how to like pump the gas, how it opens, because some cars you like just push it and then the thing opens and then you can twist it out and pump the gas. But other cars you have like a lever that you pull to let the thing out. Before you leave, so some things before you leave the car dealership, make sure you learn how to use your windshields, make sure you learn how to put on the bright lights, make sure you know how to basically do any essential things that could be necessary other than turning your blinker on. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. If you have any specific questions, please comment below. I would love to help out anyone as much as I can because I received so much help. I received, oh God, I can't even thank people enough for giving me the kind and considerate natures that they did. I got driving lessons from so many people. The only family member was my brother, and that was like a couple of times, but I just appreciate my friends to the end of the earth. And yeah, even my coworker offered to, okay, actually two of my coworkers offered help in different ways, and I'm just like so freaking astounded that they even did that. One of my coworkers offered to let me drive her car to the DMV to get my license, and I was like, me? You want to help me? It was just so like, it honestly made me cry a couple of times how helpful people are when you're willing to like express yourself. Anyway, that's enough for me. I'm Cheyenne. This is Cheyenne New. If you liked my video, then please like. If you know anyone that's trying to get their license as an adult, please share. And yeah, see ya.